Hi everyone, it's Sean. Hey, welcome back to another one of my videos. I really appreciate all of you watching my videos. Please press the like button if you have not done already. Please consider subscribing. If you are in the world of private investigations or private security, even private security management, or even you're in the firearms training industry, this video and a lot of other videos is going to help you achieve your goal. I think so. As a disclaimer, in all of my videos, nothing I say in this video shall ever be construed to be legal advice, professional advice. Please consult with a licensed attorney if you have any questions about any legal issues. I also do not represent any government agency, any law enforcement agency, any prosecutor's office, and I do not represent any employer. The content in this video expressed reflects only my personal opinion. That's it. Nothing else. I don't go off of a script, as you can probably tell, so there can always be errors and omissions that I will not be legally responsible for. One of our subscribers, James Reynolds, hopefully I got his name right, he wanted me to do a video on the legality of body camera use. And he mentioned that California is a two-party consent state, so that already tells me that Mr. Reynolds has done some research already, which is great. Another subscriber, Lanky Toes, he's been a subscriber for a long time. He made a follow-up comment, and again, he seconded the motion for me to do one of these videos. So I'm going to talk about body cameras. If you guys haven't already, there's two body camera channels that I personally subscribe to. The first one is the Security Guard Body Cam channel. I might be pronouncing that name wrong, but this gentleman has also been a subscriber on our channel for a little bit, and I'll leave a link in the description box below. Please consider subscribing to his channel as well. He has a lot of interesting things on his body camera footage. There's another channel out there, I think it's called All Eyes on Me, something to that effect, and I'll leave a link in the description box below. He's also been a long time subscriber, and I also enjoy his content as well. Those are two body camera channels. If you guys want to know what body camera you should get, I don't know. All I carry for my line of work is the Axon Taser. I think it's the 3, and I could be mispronouncing that title of that particular body cam, but I end up using that. I use the Axon cameras. They run about $1,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. If you like the footage in those two channels that I just mentioned, ask the host what camera they're using. The last time I checked with the Security Guard Body Cam, he actually had a link for Amazon. So consider checking out his channel and All Eyes on Me channel, and ask them what kind of body camera do they use. It might be inexpensive, but the footage that you see is a footage that you will probably get when you use it. Okay, let's talk about the main topic. We need to understand first the difference between a two-party consent state and a one-party consent state. In a one-party consent state, only one party has to agree to a surreptitious recording of another person. So what that means is that there's two people in a private conversation, only one person has to agree to being recorded. And even if that is the person that's going to record, this is audio recording, this is surreptitious, this is secret recording. Only one person has to agree. In a two-party or all consent state like California, all parties, they could be two parties as well if there's only two parties, but it's all parties that are present during the surreptitious recording. They all have to agree to being recorded. Now, there's different ways to waiver this requirement, and the ultimate way is, or the easiest way is consent. There's a search warrant route, but that's for law enforcement. So we're going to talk about implied and express consent. So express consent is if you ask somebody, can I record you? And if they say yes, then you have their consent. If you hand them a form where they agree to being recorded, audio, okay, then they sign it, then you can record them. That's express consent. That's an express waiver if they say yes. Implied consent recording is through their actions. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, why do you keep talking about an audio recording, Sean, if the body cameras record video and audio, and that's the problem? You see, it's because a body camera records audio, you have to abide by the rules that govern the one-party consent state and the two-party consent state rules because of that audio feature. And we'll talk about the video feature very shortly. So we just talked about an express consent waiver. Let's talk about an implied consent waiver. So somebody can waive their right to the one-party rule, or even the two-party rule. Well, really, no, the two-party rule. Somebody can waive their right to the two-party rule if through their actions they give consent. So if you're out in public, you have your body camera on, okay, and you tell them, I'm recording, and they see that you're recording, and they continue to talk, they're waiving their right. Okay, they're waiving their right, and you could continue recording. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what if I don't tell them that I'm recording on my body camera? And that's a great question. If you don't tell them the recording, you don't tell them that you're recording, then it determines on what the totality of the circumstances are. What would a jury think? Would this person who you're recording, would that person feel like they have a reasonable expectation of privacy? Well, if they're in a public area, the answer normally is not. So if you're in a public area, you give a lot of right to your privacy. So in that circumstance, even if the security officer doesn't tell you he or she's recording, and it's in plain view, and it's on, and they continue to talk, whether or not they notice it, then in my opinion, and that's only my opinion, you could continue to record because they don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, if you have a body camera and it's not mounted over here, you mount it inside of your shirt, it's hidden, okay, it's hidden, and your audio recording in public, the same thing. If this person that's in public feels, or if other people that are viewing the situation, if they believe that this person does not have a reasonable expectation of privacy because they're in a public area, then you can record still. You could have this audio recorder, the audio recording feature of the body cam, or even the video, you could have it rolling hidden in your pocket because they don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, things are going to change when they move to an area where somebody might or probably will have a reasonable expectation of privacy. So you walk into maybe a private hallway, a private office, an area where people normally, where they have these conversations, these confidential conversations where they want the public to not hear what they're saying. When you start audio recording in these areas, well, that's a possible violation of law. And in California, the section for that is 632, California Penal Code 632. If you're in another state, you're gonna probably have a section very similar to 632 Penal Code. So that's a criminal violation. It could also be a civil violation as well. Now, 632 Penal Code, this is more or less your wiretap laws. Remember, there's actually a federal wiretap law, and then there's a state federal tap law. Whenever you secretly audio record somebody, you're potentially violating an audio, a wiretapping law. Okay, so something that you don't want to do. If you walk into a bathroom, okay, most people have a reasonable expectation inside of a bathroom, especially that area. So if you're following for perhaps a transient inside of a bathroom and you're recording, you got to be extra careful. Okay, I'm not saying what to do, what not to do, but I don't think that telling them that they're being recorded is a bad idea. Again, I encourage you to consult with legal counsel to see whether or not the facts in your jurisdiction, or whatever the facts are in your case, if it would be deemed illegal in your jurisdiction. I don't have an answer to that. That's more of an answer where the jury would deliberate and give an answer back, and that's not a good thing if it goes all the way to the jury. Okay, I'm not saying that you can record it. I'm saying you cannot record it in a restroom. But just please be careful. When in doubt, ask for permission to record. And then another thing is, if you're recording a transient in the restroom, Okay, if there's another person in that restroom, you could be violating that person's rights. Okay, maybe that person doesn't want you recording, and maybe this person has nothing to do with the transient in the restroom or the troublemaker in the restroom. Not every time there's a transient in the restroom, that doesn't involve that they're a troublemaker. Okay. Now let's talk about video. You cannot video record, and this again, this goes back to your body camera. You cannot video record, and this is common sense, you guys. You can't video record when somebody is taking a shower, they're in a dressing room. You can't create a peek hole situation and then put your body camera to it. So there's a changing room or an area where somebody has a reasonable expectation of privacy. You cannot create a hole or even put your camera to an opening and record that private encounter. You can't do that. Now, some people don't have common sense, so that's why I'm saying that right now. Most of you have common sense, especially if you're a subscriber to this channel. Now, one thing that I had to do a little bit of research, I actually made a whole 20-minute video and I erased it because I gave the wrong answer. Some of you might work at an apartment or a housing complex and you might get calls for service, maybe a loud party, loud gathering, or some type of yelling, screaming inside of one of these apartments, and you're a hands-on company, which means that you respond to almost all these calls. So when you show up, you're still allowed to record, okay, even if it's inside somebody's house. The problem that you're going to have is video recording through a window if you don't have a legal right to be there already. So if you didn't get a call, there's no request for service, and you just go to one of these properties for maybe surveillance activity, you want to gather intelligence or something like that, and then you go onto the property to record, and you actually start you're capturing some video from inside of the residence, people doing private things, maybe having private conversations or even dressing. Doesn't matter what it is, but as long as you're recording in there, audio or visual, you're going to possibly be in deep legal trouble with that one. So make sure that you actually have a legitimate call for service, and you're there for, again, a lawful purpose. Do not trespass, is what I'm going to say. The legal argument against a charge like this would be that you have a lawful right to be on the property. A good way that the prosecutor would want to charge you is if you were trespassing. So if you're trespassing, then they might want to pursue the charges. Again, it goes back to, why are you on the property to begin with? Okay, why are you on their doorstep? Okay, so if you work private security, you work in a complex, make sure that the contract includes you entering that I want to say that curtilage of the property, that part of the domain of the property that is public, that starts off public and then it becomes semi-public, and then it becomes private. Make sure that you have a legal right to be in that private area. Make sure that it says that in the contract. Most contracts probably don't say that, and that's just because this is usually not much of an issue. Okay, so let's recap everything that I'm saying here. In a one-party consent state, only one party to the private conversation has to agree to being recorded. In a two-party consent state, all parties consent state, all parties have to agree to being recorded. You can agree to being recorded, audio, and even visual, through implied or express consent. Okay, that's implied or express consent. Those rights of one another can be waived. We also talked about don't trespass and have your body camera on. Okay, that might be, some of you might be thinking, Sean, come on, use some common sense here. Why would I do something like that? You never know. There might be a super ambitious private security officer that's your partner that might be doing these silly things like trespassing and then having their body camera on and then them getting too close to a window. This is a long shot. I have never seen this happen where a security officer has been charged with having their body camera on because they got too close to the window and they're recording that private encounter. But my videos are never short of case studies. If this video helps you understand the difference between one party, two party consent state, please give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys have any questions, you want me to make any clarifications, please let me know. Otherwise, you guys all be safe and take care.